Hello, I'm Pat Scimone-Almasy. I'm here to speak to you regarding the importance of specially trained officers in the area of crisis intervention with the mentally ill. What holds the promise for our future is when someone comes along with fresh eyes who can look at a problem from a new perspective and who then says, "What if we tried this?" In 1988, in Memphis, Tennessee, just such a person came along. Responding to a series of bad outcomes involving police use of force against people with serious mental illness, then Lieutenant Sam Cochran developed a new approach, partnering with mental health colleagues to develop the first Crisis Intervention Team, CIT. Have you heard of Crisis Intervention Teams, CIT? Does it exist in your area? It is 2012, 24 years after the idea of community, mental health professionals, and this highly rated training from previous attendees. The result? Many counties still do not have a CIT. Even with 60% of society having some form of mental health issues, still not in every county. Killings continue, still no CIT program in many communities. So where do we go from here? Social media. After you listen to this brief presentation given at Pasco County, Florida, for CIT training through NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and believe your community would benefit from CIT trained officers, please call your local NAMI affiliate. That's the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or visit NAMI.org to request information on CIT or any information on the mentally ill.
I was asked to speak on mental illness today, even though I am not a professional speaker. I was given NAMI guidelines to follow and questions that might help me through the process of preparing our time together. One question was, how do you feel mental illness has affected your family? In a perfect world, everyone would be diagnosed correctly. Everyone would take their meds. Every cocktail of meds would work. Every doctor would truly take an interest in every patient they have, and there would be no need for this course. But the system is broken, these people are broken, and their families are broken, and on a much larger scale, the world is a very broken place. And for the mentally ill who are mocked, isolated, ignored, demoralized, and incarcerated because of something they don't even remember doing, their world is shattered beyond our understanding. Hopes and dreams crushed by a brain disorder, a disorder that affects more of society than cancer and heart disease put together. I'm sure each of you have been to a doctor at one time, hired a CPA or an attorney, spoke to your local gas station clerk, or even spent some time with a fellow officer. Any of these people may have a mental illness and are someone's parent, sibling, or friend, deserving of love, hope, and respect. I will ask you to be a hero today, but understand they are heroes as well. Heroes for getting up each morning, for going to work with a debilitating disease. Today I am here to speak about the unspeakable. If you would have asked me to come before you last year, I not only couldn't, I wouldn't have. I was so beside myself that I wasn't eating, sleeping, or thinking clearly, so depressed that I needed to be placed on drugs. I attended Grief Share and needed to seek counseling. I was angry, very, very angry. An anger that I never knew I could own was inside of me. So angry that I promised my brother that I would avenge his death by killing the officers that killed him. But today, through the grace of God and my love of life, I can stand before you with only love and hope. Hope that one day I have the opportunity to stand in a CIT class in New York before all of the officers that responded to the call that evening and give them what I hope I have given you, insight, empathy, and a dose of a very sad reality. Here is my story. Without warning, my baby brother Thomas, who was 38 at the time, had what was called a psychotic break, or a breakdown. The first 5 years were very difficult at best. We had no idea what to expect and how to deal with it. He was in and out of hospitals. One of the difficulties with Thomas was that he presented well. The doctors would always tell us to tell law enforcement that he was tough to read, since he presented so well. Many of the times police would come and leave, and a day later, when he was in a full-blown episode, they would transport. There wasn't a day that a family member wasn't with him. At each day, he received encouragement, compassion, and an outpouring of love. Yet mental illness knows no boundaries. It does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you are rich or poor, black or white, male or female. It touches everyone. The police were called many times to escort Thomas to the hospital to be evaluated. One officer in particular, Officer Lynch, would come to the house and speak to Thomas with such kindness that I wrote a letter of recommendation for him. He wanted to change his beat, and my letter allowed him to do just that. It was very hard because Lynch was always there for us, and we never experienced that kind of rapport ever again. He would sit with Thomas and say, "Hey, Thomas, if I take you, you know the deal. Handcuffs, cruiser. Why don't you just get in the car with your sister and allow her to take you to the hospital?" But Thomas would march in his room, get his coat, and they would leave with me tagging behind. It is now 2010, and my brother Thomas has been diagnosed with bipolar for 10 years and has successfully spent the last 5 years out of the hospital with few challenges and a satisfying and mostly happy life. Thomas was a teacher. He taught at-risk teens at a tech school in New York, but retired soon after his break. It's November 20th, 2010, and Thomas is likely in an episode, battling the demons once again, and runs into the street with an unloaded antique rifle in his hands, running from whatever only he sees. 7 officers arrive. None of them had CIT training. He is shot at more than 42 times from 5 of the 7 officers. Thomas is now down on his knees according to the police report. He is hit with 2 or 3 bullets that was not life-threatening at the time. They stop the shooting and ask him to put the gun down, according to the report. He answers them by saying, "I can't do that, man," and then 2 officers open fire, hitting him with 5 more bullets, 1 to the head. My 88-year-old father will now be forced to say goodbye to yet another son. On Thanksgiving Day, while many enjoyed a turkey, my 2 sisters and I sat and watched my brother take his last breath. Have you ever watched a loved one die? It is the most heart-wrenching feeling, and that I cannot describe. When he was a child, he had a difficult time pronouncing Patricia. It came out Badibada. That's my nickname. He called me that with such an endearing voice. Badibada. I hear him call to me. It took him 3 hours to pass. They were only able to harvest his corneas. He didn't pass in time to take other organs, including his heart. But none of us can go back to that night or any other night. We can only move forward and make today count. I can make today count by speaking up and speaking out everywhere I can. But you can make a bigger difference. You can be a hero. You can add to your arsenal not another gun or a better pepper spray. You can be armed with knowledge, CIT knowledge. I applaud each of you for being here today. I pray for each one of you as you go about your daily work to make good split-second decisions and that you stay safe. I leave you with this last thought that will haunt me for the rest of my life. What if they had continued the conversation? What if they had asked him why he couldn't put the gun down? What if they had asked if they could help? What if just one of them was CIT trained? Thank you for listening to some excerpts of my presentation at CIT Pasco County. If you have any questions, please email me at patsimone@aol.com, and I invite you to continue to watch and listen to a slideshow of people whom you may be surprised to know have mental illness as well. God bless.
There comes a time in everyone's life where nothing seems to go away. seems to turn out right. There may come a time you just can't seem to find your place. And for every door you open, seems like you get to slam in your face. That's when you need someone that you can call when all your faith is gone. It feels like you can't go home. Let it be me. Let it be me. If it's a friend that you need, let it be me. Let it be me. Feels like you're always coming up last. Pockets full of nothing, ain't got no cash. No matter where you turn, you ain't got no place to stand. You reach out for something and they slap your hand. I remember all too well just how it feels to be all alone. You feel like you'd give anything for just a little place you can call home. That's when you need someone that you can call when all your faith is gone. It feels like you can't go home. Let it be me. Let it be me. If it's a friend you need, let it be me. Let it be me. Let it be me. Let it be me. If it's a